by our politics editor, Mark Perlman. Mark, what do you make of the timing of all of this?
Well, clearly, this is a major, major embarrassment for the president, because just a few weeks ago, one of his key ministers, the minister in charge of environment, Nicolas Hulot, resigned while granting a radio interview live in the morning. He hadn't told the president, he was replaced. Now the interior minister comes out a week or so ago, gives an interview in which he says, I plan to run for mayor of Lyon, so I think I will resign in a few months. Then he meets with the president. Yesterday, the president says, I don't want you to resign. What does the interior minister do? Instead of saying, okay, I'll wait for a few weeks, he gives another interview to the Figaro today, says, I'm still planning to resign. Therefore, essentially forcing the president to accept his resignation, which is being done as we speak. There will be a cabinet reshuffle. There will be a new interior minister, maybe a bigger cabinet reshuffle in the coming hours.
He wasn't a particularly popular minister. He's being blamed for his handling of the scandal surrounding Macron's bodyguard, who's accused of impersonating a police officer during a May Day demonstration. So why did the president want to keep Gerard Collomb in the job?
Because Gerard Collomb was the first political heavyweight to throw his support behind Emmanuel Macron. He was a key to Emmanuel Macron's victory in last year's presidential election, because he was seen as someone who was solid, who had experience as a mayor of Lyon, as a member of the Socialist Party. And so this was the reason why Emmanuel Macron gave him that important position of interior minister here in France. However, you mentioned Emmanuel Macron's bodyguard, Alexandre Benalla, and this is probably, if we look back, and we'll probably learn more in the coming hours and days, this is probably when there was a fracture between both men, because Gerard Collomb felt that he was essentially left out hanging there with this issue, and that he was not responsible for it, that this was because of the way the presidential palace was functioning, that Alexandre Benalla had a kind of free hand in doing whatever he wanted to do, and that he was blamed for that, and he felt this was unfair. But clearly, the fact that you have two key ministers challenging the authority of a president who has presented himself as someone who wants to reestablish presidential power is really a major blow for Emmanuel Macron. His poll numbers are really low. He did not need that crisis, and now he's forced to accept the resignation of a minister. Imagine, the minister went to him yesterday night, told him, I want to resign. Emmanuel Macron says, no, you stay. And today he says, I'm still going to resign.
It's early days yet, though. I mean, the next presidential election's not for another 3.5 years. He can rebound.
There's ample time. However, the polls are not good. There are European elections in a few months, and Emmanuel Macron has already presented those elections as key elections to essentially figure out what support he can get, but also for the future of Europe. And the fact that he's seen as losing control of his troops that were really very faithful to him, starting with Gerard Collomb, is not a good omen. Obviously, there's a lot of time before the next presidential election. It doesn't mean that he's lost, but clearly he's hurt, and it shows.
All right, Mark Perlman, many thanks for that.